Welcome back, everyone, to OpenLine. Talking about the Tennessee Justice Bus. So it's a law office on wheels. I think we have a picture of it. We now have a picture, and we'll put up the picture. And I'm going to have our guests here. We have Anne-Louise Wirthlin and Savannah Quintero, both with the Tennessee State Courts that oversees this bus, to kind of talk about it. So there it is. All right. You can kind of see it there. But there's kind of a picture. Walk us through again. I mean, would you go inside the bus? Do they just kind of come up? What happens when the bus pulls up?
Sure. So that side panel door opens up fully, and then you step on up and walk into the bus. And right when you walk in, there's a long desk that has 2 laptop computers. We also have a printer over there. There's office chairs, just like you would find in an office. There are drawers and file cabinets, just like you would find in an office. And then there's as I said, we have a TV, so if you wanted to show a video to somebody to help explain their issue to them, that's there. And then in the very back, there's a door that separates the very back, so there's a secondary office in the back of the bus. So it's a little bit small back there. You could have an attorney and then possibly one client in there, or you could have, let's say you had a client in a rural area using the laptop or the tablet, using Zoom or something like that to an attorney that's maybe in a city. So the attorney would be on Zoom, the client would be using the Wi-Fi in the bus to meet with the attorney that way. So yeah, we're just trying to, we know that there's not as many attorneys in our rural counties, so this was more about bringing the tech to be able to connect people. We do want to have an attorney, hopefully every time, but we also expect there to be instances where we're going to need to beam in with somebody else, perhaps if it's a certain subject matter that we need more of a specialty, or if we just have a lot of folks and we want to be able to help all of them.
How long is the average stay? So it shows up, it's there, how long, and how long could each person expect to be talking to somebody?
I think it'll depend on the event, but we've stayed in most places for half a day, roughly. And I think that, you know, we'll stick with someone as long as it takes to get them a good answer to their question and make sure everybody's heard. But I think roughly about a half an hour per person is generally average what we do. So, and everybody's different, so we make sure that folks get what they need, but about a half hour.
And who pays for that? Like, where did the money come from for that?
For the bus itself, we were lucky to get a grant from the Office of Criminal Justice Programs to fund the purchase of the bus, which is really a van, and then to pay to outfit it like an office and for the internet and things of that nature and supplies. The Access to Justice Initiative is the court funds it, this Tennessee Supreme Court funds it through reserves from its other boards and commissions. So that is what funds our travel to it, Savannah's travel, gas, things like that. It's all funded through reserves through the Supreme Court's boards and commissions right now.
Okay, good. And do other states do anything like this?
Yes, we're not the first. We learned about it from Kentucky, from a legal aid in Kentucky, legal aid of the bluegrass back in 2019, and we tried to raise interest and funds for it then, and then the pandemic altered course a little bit. But California also has some, let's see, Ohio has one, and their Access to Justice Foundation has one, and they've been really helpful letting us learn from their experience. And then Minnesota has a fleet of them that they launched during the pandemic. They have, I think, 5. I can't recall.
Really?
That's fleet? Wow. They were able to benefit from some different types of funding that were made available from the federal government and launched about 5 justice buses. So we are joining a small network, but we're really thrilled to be able to do so.
And I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot, but is there, Suzanne, is there an example? You've been out there on the bus, without giving a name, is there an example of a situation that kind of drives home what it does and what it can do? Like it really helps somebody and describe their situation? Or what are some personal sort of examples that you've seen in the time you've been doing this?
So I'll talk about a woman that I met a few weeks ago at one of our Saturday clinics. She had a child, and the child's father had recently come back into the picture, and there was a lot of anxiety because this kid was, fairly old, and so there's a lot of anxiety about what does it look like to co-parent what does it look like to ask for child support? What's the government going to make us do if we go to court? Like, what's going to happen to the relationship between me and my child and me and my child's father? What we were able to do is I was able to give her some advice about how that whole process is going to work to kind of reduce that anxiety that she was feeling about all these new things that are about to happen. And I was also able to print her off some forms that we have wonderfully made available by the juvenile court here in Davidson County, so that she could start her case. I gave her resources to, learn more about child support, and to learn about asking the court for support. So I think she walked away probably still nervous, but having that information I think was really powerful for her, and also having some next steps where she can, make informed decisions because she has this information and then decide how she wants to move forward, I think was pretty powerful.
That's great, and that's just one example. And so are child support a lot of these cases, or?
Yeah. Family law cases I think are a really, really big need that largely go unaddressed. I think
family
that's
law,
really
what does that mean?
Divorces, custody cases, orders of protection, kind of law around our relationships.
Yeah. Boy, and that's sensitive stuff.
Yes.
Do you think most of the people, did they know that this was coming and they could prepare questions, or were they just walking around and they saw this and they're like, hey, I'll check in? Like, did they have a chance to really think things out, or what about that?
I think, again, it will depend on the event. So far, we've tried to do a good job about telling people we're coming. There have been other partners at these events, so they've also communicated that as people have registered or to their networks to give people a little sense of what we could do. For the reentry events, definitely people have prepared a little bit more about, why they're there, because it's not, a community fair or something like that. So it will just depend, but if we're going to be providing a clinic where you're going to have that one-on-one time with a lawyer, then we are going to try to broadcast that as far and wide as we can, because if you do have court documents or you do have something like that, it would be really helpful to have those with you. Now, if we're at a fair or something like that, then we know we're going to meet people who are not going to be prepared, and so, but that's okay, because we can give them, we could print out some resources for them. We could give them those resources, that the statewide resources we just mentioned, or we could say, the next time we're going to be here, or next time a legal clinic is going to be in your area is this date. So it really just will depend on the event.
And talk about, in the same terms you just did with the child support situation, the expungement situation. What have you seen when you've gone to those kind of things?
So we've actually done some expungements from the bus, which has been kind of fun. There are some counties that have all their records online. So when we pulled up in Rutherford County, we were able to pull up records from, I was looking at cases from Montgomery County because those are online. And so I can walk folks through their record. Sometimes folks are surprised at what's on there. And then fill out those forms with them and tell them what they need to do in order to file the expungement and make sure those cases are taken care of. So we can do all that from the bus, assuming that we have access to the records online.
Wow. And are you one of the people doing it? Are you one of the attorneys?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's got to be rewarding.
It's a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun with the Justice Bus.
Is it fun, or is it overwhelming? I mean, you seem so happy, and I'm glad you're happy. But is it overwhelming, or is it fun?
It can be overwhelming because there is such a huge need. I think, but to be a part of meeting that need and to see the woman that we saw with such anxiety over her child support case, to see that anxiety to kind of come down just with a little bit of information, it can be really easy to help someone a whole lot, and that's what we're doing on this Justice Bus, and it's been fun.
And I've found it's hard for people to feel like they even get listened to. I mean, where do you call? To get an attorney it's a bit overwhelming for a lot of people, and for a bus to be there with an attorney there, and hopefully there's not a long line. I mean, I bet their anxiety level would go down if they could really speak to you or some attorney. That would be great.
Yep.
That's really good. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back, continue our discussion. There is the number at the screen, 615-737-PLUS, 615-737-7587. We'll take a break. We'll be back right after this.